Hello. I've had this ongoing issue where I've got a growing number of former boards that I've bodged and then replaced, and I don't know what to do with them. So I had an idea. So I bought a frame and some anti-static foam. Now this should be a pretty close match for size. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. Fortunately, there's a small line around the edge that will hide any issues in the corners. Right, so I've fitted double-sided sticky tape under here. This should drop neatly into there. Okay, first up, we've got the bus control. That was my first bodge. Now, visibly you can just see the bodge wires I put in, but actually the bigger mistake on there was the ground paths were absolutely awful. It's the clock. Now, I had a complicated bodge where I hadn't wired up the passives to the 555 timer. I'm going to turn this around to match the main build. So the ALU result was the most recent bodge. Bifo buffer, that was probably the board with the most actual bodge wires on it so far. Okay, now we're on to stuff that may not really be called a bodge anymore. So this is my very first PCB. Now I'm going to include that, but the circuit here is absolutely fine, although I did make a terrible mistake of putting a chip on upside down. But the main thing here is the design of the board was very early. It was my first, and the new ones are way smaller, even though they have the same functionality. Constant register is an interesting one. There's actually nothing wrong with this. I could just drop it straight into the current build and it works fine. But it's got a set of LEDs on it that weren't necessary. Okay, memory. Now, I'm not actually sure if this is going to fit in the frame, but it's also, there's no bodge on here. I just added the shadow memory features to create version 2. So I may put that elsewhere if it doesn't fit. Okay, it clearly won't fit without taking the ZIF socket off, so I'm going to drop that. And that is the frame of shame. I'm going to put that up somewhere to remind myself that mistakes are... Okay, so I've put it up here in my study as a nice little reminder of all the mistakes I've made, and in the future I'll take it down and add to it whenever I've got new board revisions.